Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. Today we're doing a new segment called the Quick Flip. In comic book investing terminology, the quick flip normally means you have something for a very short period of time that you sell for a profit and had no intention of holding it for the long term. At my channel, I'm going to incorporate the phrase quick flip and make it mean real down and dirty, real fast information about this channel and other comic book news, and always under 7 minutes. And we'll cover a lot of different topics in a short period of time. Okay, now that you understand, let's go ahead and get right into it. First of all, let's talk about some football real quick. The Super Bowl is set. It's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New England Patriots. Being that I'm a Pittsburgh fan, I must hate the Patriots. It is law. The big game is going to be on Sunday, February 4th. Now back to comics. Speaking of celebrations, this channel turned 2 years old on January 20th. I posted my first video on January 20th, 2016. I appreciate everyone's support and feedback. Let me take this time to highlight some of my most frequent commenters by name, and in no particular order. Sequential Geek, Sweet Exorcist 7, Adam Lebenick, Wolf Warner, The Comic Book Villain, Simple Man's Comics, Timothy the Canadian Comic Hunter, and Nelson Cavallo. I apologize in advance if I butchered any names, but I want to thank those people specifically. Your comments help shape the direction of this comic book channel. Now how about a big woohoo for 2 years of Comic Power? And I'm just getting warmed up. I got some fantastic material coming in 2018 and beyond. Once again, I'm no longer doing Wicked Wednesday, but I'm still giving you guys a pick of the week. So that means next up is the speculation pick of the week. That's going to be Legion #1 from Marvel Comics. This is a new comic series based on the character that was created by Chris Claremont and Bill Sienkiewicz back in 1985 in New Mutants number 25 and 26. He's a mutant at the Omega level, but it gets even better than that. He's got many split personalities that are also in Omega level. That's more than 200 split personalities with over 200 Omega level mutant powers. To make it even more interesting, he's the long lost son of Professor X. There's also a live action TV show starring this character that's on FX. Season 1 was critically acclaimed, and Season 2 is going to start around April of 2018. The joke about this character is his design looks like the Slim Jim Man. So the direction they went for the live action show is a whole lot better. The comic book still looks kind of goofy looking. Despite the design, this character's importance is going to really get up there because of the television show. And of course, it's linked to Professor X. I've already done a full video about this character under character study under the playlist. I'll put a link in the description so you can go back and watch that. The runner-up this week is going to be Monstrous number 13. This is a superior sci-fi horror story that's inspired by manga and anime and steampunk. This series has been nominated for 4 Eisners. It's #1 any because of SAGA. SAGA is sort of like the New England Patriots of comic books. You just can't beat it. Monstrous, however, did win a Hugo Award recently. Issue number 13 is the start of a new story arc, so this is a good starting point for new readers. I advise you to pick up the trade paperback too so you can get on the ground floor on how all this started. The writing and the art on this is just top tier. It's one of my favorite books personally, and I have a complete run on it. Next up is a big shakeup at DC. Let's just say that their comic book movies have not performed at the level they're expecting. I'm going to do a rant pretty soon that goes in detail about that. But the brass at Warner Brothers is not taking this lightly, so they had a big shakeup, and they've brought in Walter Hamada to be the president of the DC Extended Universe in the films. This is basically telling us that Geoff Johns was not as powerful as DC made it sound like it was when they promoted him to co-chairman of DC Films. Everyone that was watching was given the impression that he was going to be the equivalent of what Kevin Feige is to Marvel comic movies. But that's clearly not the case because Walter Hamada is in charge now. Walter has a background in horror movies where he worked as a producer, taking very small budget films and making very big bank. Walter was an executive producer on The Conjuring in 2013. It only had a budget of $20 million, but it made $319 million. He was a producer on Lights Out from 2014 with a very small budget of just $5 million. It made $148 million. And most recently, he was a producer for 2017's It, an adaptation of a Stephen King novel. It was made for only $35 million. It made $700 million worldwide. As you might imagine, the brass at Warner Brothers loves this guy. He takes very tiny budgets and turns them into behemoth blockbusters. The former guy that was in charge of the universe really was Zack Snyder. He had to leave Justice League abruptly due to the tragic death of his daughter, but let's face it, he was going to get fired anyway. The budgets on his movies were huge and they just kept increasing, and the performance at the box office was not getting it done. For example, the latest Justice League movie had a budget of $300 million and it only made $655 million. And that is not getting the baby any candy. You have to put box office numbers in perspective. It's not about the total amount of how much money the movie made. It must be balanced based on its production costs. So if you make a movie, you have to make about 3.5 times more than what you paid to make a profit. Justice League made just over 2 times what it cost to make, while it made 20 times what it cost to make. So that's why Walter is here. They're expecting him to take budgets of about $150 million and make $1 billion. So Zack Snyder is out of there. He's gone. It's too dark. It wasn't working. You won't see Joss Whedon anymore, who stepped in to complete Justice League. He's also feuding with Warner Brothers. It's a complete mess over there, so Walter has his hands full. He's got a hot streak, but he's not completely unblemished because he wrote and produced 47 Ronin, which was a big flop at the box office. It cost $175 million to make and only made $151 million back. Let's hope he can turn it around. DC is such a mess right now. They're only releasing one comic book movie for 2018. That's going to be Aquaman, which is going to debut on December 21st, starring Jason Momoa. DC desperately needs another hit. Out of 5 tries, they've only gotten one movie that's got the box office and the critical acclaim they're looking for, and that was Wonder Woman. It made $821 million at the box office on just a $150 million budget. What's next for DC? We heard about a Nightwing movie, a Batgirl movie, a Cyborg movie, Gotham City Sirens. We'll have to see. You know the drill. Subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, and share it on social media so others can learn about comic power. Once again, thank you to all my subscribers and viewers. It only gets better from here.